Hey!
Hey!
Hey, bestie!
Yeah. Hey!
Welcome back to my channel. Throughout the last few weeks, I've been making Who is the Queen of Disney Channel, Who is the Queen of Nickelodeon, Who is the best mom on Disney Channel, best dad on Disney Channel. I've been going through it. And today, we are continuing that trajectory with Who is the most iconic best friend sidekick on Disney Channel. There are so many besties on Disney Channel, there are so many sidekicks that it's actually really tough competition. Before I get into this video, I'm going to preface it by saying that I'm not going to be considering shows where there are two lead characters that are best friends. For example, I will not be talking about Cece and Rocky from Shake It Up or Sid and Shelby from Best Friends Whenever. Neither of them are the sidekick best friend. They're both equally the lead. On top of that, I'm only going to be talking about characters whose central purpose is to be the best friend of the lead. So for example, I'm not going to be talking about Maddie or London from The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody because neither of them are the best friends of Zack and Cody. Does that make sense? Cool. One final thing, can you guys please turn off your ad block? There are so many hidden costs that come with wanting to be admitted into practice as a lawyer. They are in their scam era, so turning off your ad block could really help. Okay, thanks. Let's get right into it.
Thank God.
Starting off this list with Ellen Twitty, who was the best friend of Lou on Even Stevens. So these two were some pranksters. So Ellen and Lou were basically two peas in a pod. They were very much alike. They both had the same mentality, which was, let's not take life seriously. The main difference is that I think Ellen was considered the more popular, jockey, athletic, better luck with the girls than Lou did. Lou was the goofmeister. Ellen was a very good friend to Lou. He was always there for him. He was very loyal, but sometimes he would stand up and be like, no, that's a bit too far, Lou. Come on now. In the grand scheme of things and the people that I'm going to be talking about on this list, most iconic, I don't think. Moving on to Miranda Sanchez, who was Lizzie McGuire's best friend on Lizzie McGuire. Girl loved to fight. She loved to pick a fight. She was Miss Petty. She always had a problem with something that Lizzie was doing, whether it was because she was insecure about something, whether it was just because she was judgmental as hell, but you know what, I relate to that. She was cool. She was kind of like a rock chick who just liked to rock out. I don't know, was she a great friend to Lizzie? There was a little bit of toxicity in their friendship, do you know what I mean? And I'm basing that off of Lizzie's other best friend, Gordo. So the whole thing about Gordo on Lizzie McGuire is that he was in love with Lizzie and his heart was breaking every single time that she tried to pursue another guy, and she was completely clueless to the fact that Gordo had feelings for her, and we were just meant to be the whole time like, oh, Gordo, aww.
Do I like have something in my face?
You're perfect.
But this guy was a ride or die. I don't know where Miranda was when they went to Italy in the Lizzie McGuire movie. Gordo went to Italy with her. He was just as good of a friend as always in the Lizzie McGuire movie. He was like, Paolo is lip syncing Lizzie. Get that in your mind, he's using you. And she's like, no babes, no. I got my adult Italian boyfriend. And basically Gordo went from best friend to boyfriend at the end of the Lizzie McGuire movie. He was a much better friend to Lizzie than Miranda. He potentially could be the most iconic best friend sidekick on Disney Channel. Moving to another loyal ride or die, I got your back friend, Ron Stoppable from Kim Possible. Ron was mega goofy. Boy, get those fluffy bits of hair down. Get some hair gel or something. There was that one episode where he did put in hair gel though, right? Ron was like, okay, wait, you're a spy and fighting crime and fighting the forces of evil? He was like, let me come with you. Let me be your sidekick. I'm gonna put my literal life on the line for you every single episode because I'm ride or die. Ron was another case of like best friend but was secretly in love with the main character. He had feelings for Miss Kimberly. Who wouldn't? She just cannot see the signs. Even though she is like a secret super spy and she'll be able to pick up on everything around her, she can't pick up on the fact that her best friend is in love with her. Once again, at the end of the series, they go from best friends to lovers. What is up with this pipeline on Disney? Ron was that girl for Miss Kim. He was always there for her. Was he capable to fight crime and be a spy? No. But was he there for his friend? Yeah. Quickly touching upon Wade, also from Kim Possible, he was very helpful. Would I say that he's the best friend? No. I don't think Kim found Wade to be her best friend, so. Moving on to Raven Baxter's best friend, Eddie Thomas. Eddie and Ray Ray go way back. They have known each other for a long time. I think they've known each other even longer than Chelsea has known Raven. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but Eddie was such a cool friend. He is the first person that I'm talking about on this list where his character is not completely revolved around the main character. He was so funny and likable, and he was always in for some good hijinks with Raven. He was like, I love dress up. Give me that costume. Give me that mustache. Give me that suit. I will play whoever you want me to play. Raven, Eddie, and Chelsea were like a literal improv troupe.
That's Liz Anya.
He is definitely in the running for most iconic friend. Moving on to Raven's other best friend, which, I mean, that defeats the purpose of the word best, but you get what I'm saying. Chelsea Daniels. Chelsea Daniels is one of the funniest characters that has ever been on Disney Channel. The only person that rivals her is Raven herself.
Do you know what time it is? 1/4 payback. Really? Mine only says 10 past.
Chelsea had so many amazing one-liners, so many jokes. She was 10 out of 10 funny. She did become a bit flanderized. Her whole character was about her not being the sharpest crayon in the box, and as the seasons went on, she lost the plot a little bit more.
Here's $20 for snacks and $20 for decorations. Okay, snacks and decorations. Man, I'm never gonna remember which is which.
But that was the point of her character. Most of her jokes were rooted in the fact that she didn't understand things. On top of that, Chelsea was such a loyal friend. Like I said with Eddie, she was always down for some hijinks. Let's not forget her iconic character of,
Do you carry a lunchbox?
She always had Raven's back. There were times where Raven was a little bit backstabby. Like, remember that episode where they went camping and she wanted to be one with nature, and then Raven was like, I'm gonna ruin your being one with nature camping trip, and I'm gonna bring every single technology along with me. And then everybody just wanted to use all of Raven's technology, and Chelsea was like, I'm just gonna run away into the woods. Her foot got stuck in a rock, and then Raven came and saved her, yada yada. But basically what I'm getting at is that Chelsea was wronged by Raven. I don't really think Raven was ever wronged by Chelsea. Besides that one episode where they were pitted against each other for that reality television show, another iconic episode. She loved nature, she loved plants. There was that one episode where the school was going to cut down old Okie, the tree, so she climbed up in there and started singing on top of old Okie. I think the tree ultimately snapped.
Maybe she snapped.
Because of the weight of all of them in the tree.
Oh, snap, for real?
Poor Okie.
All right.
And then, of course, on top of that, Chelsea made a return in Raven's home as once again one of the main characters, playing Raven's best friend and mother of her kids and roommate?
And they were roommates.
So, best friends to lovers pipeline. Yeah, she is definitely in the running for most iconic best friend on Disney Channel. I am not talking about any of Penny Proud's friends on the Proud family. They were all bad friends. None of them are iconic best friends. Moving on to Keely Teslow, who was the best friend of Phil on Phil of the Future. She was the only one that knew the Diffie's secret, and she kept it. She was sitting on a secret.
And what exactly is my secret?
She was ride or die. She was like, I could literally send you to the government and probably make a pretty penny from doing that, but I'm not. I'm just gonna be a loyal girl. She was always there to help Phil with his hijinks and problems, but she was also her own person. She was driven, she had her own life goals and pursued them. She wasn't just there to be like, so what are we doing today, Phil? No, she had her own vision of her life. She wanted to do the school news program. She had dreams. And once again, best friends to lovers pipeline, where she professed her love for Phil, and he was like, I gotta skedaddle back to 2171 or something.
I gotta go, my dad's waiting in the time machine.
So Keely is definitely in the running for most iconic friend on Disney Channel. Moving on to someone I'm conflicted about. Lilly Truscott, who was best friends with Miley Stewart on Hannah Montana. So Lilly loved Miley like a sister. They went through thick and thin. Even at the end of the show, Lilly moved into Miley's house and they shared a room. And then for those that know, at the end of Hannah Montana, Miley's like, oh my God, god, I just got a movie gig in Paris as Hannah. And Lily's like, oui. And then they go to the airport and Miley's like, you can't come, Lily. You gotta go to college. And she's like, yeah. And then sneak attack, Miley's like, surprise, Lily, I'm here. I'm going to college with you and we're gonna be roommates. And Lily's like, yay! So they're BFFs. But the reason why I say I'm conflicted is because Lily was also Miss Petty sometimes, right? Lily had a big issue with the fact that she was not the most popular girl in school. And then she continuously guilt-tripped Miley, being like, Miley, why don't you tell people that you're friends with Hannah, or that you went to this and you did this? Show off this bag that you have, all of that stuff, all in the pursuit of Lily wanting to be more popular. And it just left Miley being like, well, I want the best of both worlds. At the end of the day, Lily loved Miley and was willing to sacrifice popularity for her friendship, which is, I guess, admirable. She's ultimately a great friend to Miley. Lola, on the other hand.
Wig, did you just say wig?
Yes.
Moving on to Miley's somewhat other best friend, Oliver Oken. I'm going to talk about him because even though he is not truly Miley's best friend, he was still an iconic character. For those that know, Oliver Oken in the beginning of the show had a mad crush on Hannah, and then in the second episode, he's like a stalker of Hannah and going to all of the events that she's at. It gets to the point where Miley's like, let me put on this damn wig and crush this boy's heart because he needs to stop crushing on me. He needs to stop stalking me and following me everywhere because he's going to expose my secret and find out that I'm Miley. So she goes to the beach and she's chewing on some licorice gum or something. At the end, she gets so frustrated and she's like, I'm Hannah. And then he faints. He was a good hijinks partner. He was always there for Miley, always there to help her when she was down. And on top of that, he was the goof. He also had relationships with other characters like Jackson, a lot more than Lily did. He had the cheese jerky business going, so he had a lot going for him.
Cheese jerky! Say what? Say what? Cheese jerky!
And then, I'm pretty sure, within the universe, he ended up getting his own singing career, and that's why he was barely in the final season of Hannah Montana, even though he was filming Pair of Kings. He was a successful goofball. However, considering the fact that Lily is also Hannah's best friend, I guess she was more ride or die. Quickly talking about Newt and Meena from Corey in the House, I feel like they were good friends. They were always there for Miss Corey. The whole character of Newt was that he was a goofball and a little bit airheaded, and then Meena's character was, I can solve problems the best and I have an accent and you're gonna laugh at my accent. That's what her whole character was. Are either of them the most iconic best friend? Clap if you think.
Oh. No one. Well.
Moving on to an instant contender for most iconic best friend, Harper Finkle. Harper Finkle was an iconic fashionista.
Okay, great gowns, beautiful gowns.
Every single episode, she acted like the category was on RuPaul's Drag Race. She came with an assignment and she executed most of the time. I feel like sometimes you look back at some of the looks, like the rubber ducky look, that driving look that she did with the wheel on the head, that was actually a serve. The pen look with the pens, that was kind of cutesy. I think the whole joke was that she has ugly fashion, but sometimes she kind of ate. I think at some point the writers of the show or the costume department was kind of like, wait, but like what if we made her serve? On top of that, Harper was a quirky goofball. Harper Finkle was Disney dad level goof. She was once again sitting on a secret. She knew that Alex was a wizard. And you know what? She never once was like, do this for me, Alex, use your magical powers. It was always unsolicited magic around her. She would just be at the sub shop and Alex would be like, let me get my wand out of my boot and do a spell. And she was like, whoa, I never asked for this. Harper Finkle was kind of like, okay, Alex, I tolerate that you're a wizard, but like, you don't need to rub it in my face. It's the equivalent of Alex coming out to Harper and Harper being like, I tolerate it, but I don't want it rubbed in my face. She was always a loyal friend to Alex. She was there thick or thin. She went through some crazy hijinks. It wasn't like That's So Raven hijinks where they put on some costumes and did an improv troupe. No, it was like, let's go to the underworld. Let's go flying up in the air. Let's time travel. Like, she went through some stuff. And that has to be respected because that's a lot for a mortal to go through. Justice for Harper. She should have ended up up with Justin. She had a mad crush on Justin, and he had to go for the old washed up hag, Juliet. Harper is definitely in the running for most iconic friend on Disney Channel. Moving on to Ivy Wentz, who was the best friend of Teddy on Good Luck Charlie. She was loyal, she was funny, she was a baddie. If Teddy is Eve from Adam and Eve, then Ivy is like the snake giving her the forbidden fruit. Do you know what I mean? Like, she was always kind of like, no, Teddy, don't be a good girl, be a baddie. And you know what? That's what teenage life should be all about. It should be about taking risks, doing the wrong things, being young, being foolish. And Ivy was a good friend in that department. She kind of also gives off the same energy as the principal on Abbott Elementary. Does anybody else get that vibe? Now talking about Olive Doyle and Fletcher Quimby on Ant Farm, the reason why I'm putting them together is based on a theory that I have, which is that I don't think China liked them. To me, I get a vibe that China was pushed into this school for gifted children, and she just needs to survive school. Olive and Fletcher come into her life, and she's like, ugh, gosh, like, what is my other option? After they all graduated, she instantly unfriended them both on all social media platforms. She was done with them. Olive was like annoying in an endearing way, and Fletcher was the goof in an endearing way. But I think at the end of the day, China was like, oh my God, I cannot wait to get out of here. Moving on to Dez Wade from Austin and Ellie. He was the best friend of Austin. He was, say it with me now, goof. He was like Disney Channel dad level goofy, and that was his whole character. The show delved more into his backstory and his own personal life. His main interest was filmmaking, and he is technically the reason why Austin is famous in the first place, right? Because he was the one that recorded that video and posted it, and then he went viral. Dez is a good friend in that department, right? Because who else can say that they got their friends famous? But unfortunately, I truly think he was overshadowed by the real icon of that show, Trish De La Rosa. She's an icon, she's a legend, and she is the moment.
Now come on now.
She was the best friend of Ellie on Ellie and AJ, and she was a baddie. In my opinion, she also had the best plot on that show, which was every single episode getting a new job, and then at the end of the episode getting fired from that job. That stuff is so funny to me. For those that have seen the Canadian kids show 16, this was also done with the character Jonesy, who basically every episode would get a new job and then at the end would get fired. And I love that stuff. It's a great way to explore the universe of the show as well, because it's set in a mall. Oh, just like 16. Wait, 16 in Austin and Alley. Wait a minute. Anyway, we get to see every single store in the mall because she has worked at every single store in the mall. She is an icon for that. And the fact that she never succumbs to capitalism. Oh, you want me to overwork? You want me to do something beyond my means? No. She taught us the most vital lesson that any Disney Channel character has ever given us, which is you don't work for the system. The system works for you. So she is definitely a contender for most iconic best friend on Disney Channel. Let's talk about Maya Hart. Why were you so difficult? I think the whole reason why she was difficult is because she had a troubled background, but girl, you were dramatic sometimes. Does everybody else remember that episode where Corey Matthews gives out the papers only to the main characters? He does not give out the test results to any of the other kids in the back. And he's like, Miss Hart.
Miss Hart.
And she's like, you failed me. And then she's like walking out and he's like, you can't do that. Like, you can't just walk out because you got a bad grade. And she's like, you can't do that. Riley has to go running after her, and then she's unpacking her locker. She's got a candy floss machine in the locker. Besides the point, Riley's like, you'll be back. You always come back. And she's like, no. And guess what? She eventually did. So you were dramatic. But then obviously Maya was a good friend to Riley, but the character itself, you were difficult. And then on top of that, also cringe at times. Like in my Disney Channel dad video, I found a clip of Corey Matthews talking about social media and lecturing the class about it. I feel bad for Sabrina Carpenter having to go through that scene and pretend to be giggling at Charlie Bit My Finger. I'm sorry to Sabrina Carpenter, but I'm also sorry for Maya for thinking that that stuff's funny. The final person that I want to talk about on this list is Marissa Clark, who was the best friend of Casey Cooper on Casey Undercover. I have not seen Casey Undercover, so there's not that much I can say about the character. She is once again a best friend, but is sitting on a secret. She knows that Casey is a spy, and she can't tell anyone. She has to keep it a secret because they are like this. Her wiki has told me that she is cheerful, girly, and an outgoing person, so just like me. So is she in the running for most iconic friend on Disney Channel? No. So that is all the people that I want to talk about. I'm sure that there are other people in the later phase of Disney that I have not talked about. And what I want to say to you is that I've not seen the show, so I would not be doing any of these people justice. Did I do justice to Marissa right now? No. So do you really want me to go through the rest of these people that I have no idea exist and then not give them the title because I have no idea who they are, right? So this is the list. And from the people that I've talked about, I've come to a decision. The most iconic best friend on Disney Channel is Chelsea Daniels! Woo! She has my heart. She is such a great character. So funny, so charming, such a loyal friend, but beyond that, just a great character in itself. When you put every single person that I've talked about on paper and say, could they have their own spin-off show? Chelsea, I think a lot of us would say, yeah, I would totally watch a Chelsea Daniels spin-off show. I feel like Chelsea is the only one that is capable of doing that. I think the only other two people that could potentially carry a spin-off show is Harper and Trish, but in my mind, Chelsea Daniels is the most iconic best friend on Disney Channel. But what do you guys think? Tell me in the comments, who do you think is the most iconic best friend on Disney Channel? Thank you so much for watching, and leave a like and subscribe if you want to see a who is the most iconic best friend on Nickelodeon video. Do I have your interest?
Oh, it's too late!
Alright, thank you guys so much. See ya.